Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us this week. We've got a lot to talk about with this spring blast on the way, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, it will drive in wintry weather for some of you in the South Island. Let's kick off with the wind map today. We've put on there the misery index, which basically shows you in red the areas that feel warm for us as human beings, and in blue, the cold air. And so colder than average conditions coming through as that southerly works its way northwards, and it really peaks over Tuesday and Wednesday. You can't really see it yet, but there is a low forming just here on the west coast. It will transfer over to the eastern side, and over Tuesday, Wednesday, rapidly deepens between Otago and the Chatham Islands, and so that will send another surge of southerlies, this time into the eastern side of the South Island. So we've got a bit of rain on the way. This is the next 24 hours. The bulk of the heavy rain down around Fiordland and Southwestland area. There'll also be heavy rain into parts of Southland and further up the west coast and in towards Taranaki. Eastern areas, fairly dry to begin with, but those rain clouds will arrive at some point. Everybody gets rain basically because of that southerly that will kick in and mean that those dry eastern areas to begin with will eventually get the wet weather. We've got snow on the way as well. This is just the next 24 hours. The heavy stuff you can see in the pink, that's through the Southern Alps, but you do see snow flurries around the mountains and ranges of Southland, Otago, Canterbury, and even up around the lower North Island. So it's not a huge amount for low areas, but there's the risk of some snow to lower levels. But for the most part, this is definitely up in the mountains and ranges. We're just that decent amount of time away from winter to not let the snow become too much of a problem. So this is that snow map, a little bit more detail. The heaviest snow in the darker colours here and the pink shading, which is around 15 to 20 centimetres. So that's not too bad, considering that's right at the top of the mountains. And then low down where most people are living and farming and working, we don't see snow in there. There might be a snow flurry or two, but for the most part, it's definitely higher up in the mountains and ranges. And that rain map we also just showed you, once again, highlights the heaviest rain on the west coast and Taranaki and Southland, but it shows those eastern areas, especially from Kaikoura up to about Gisborne and around Whangarei, around the eastern Coromandel. Those areas not really seeing very much in the way of rain, not at least in the next 24 hours. But as we move through, this is how we look on Tuesday. So the storm has deepened quite a bit, 976 hectopascals. So rapidly deepening as it crosses over into the Pacific Ocean area. Southerlies are being dredged up because of the high out here as well, helping to work with the low, both of them dredging up a southerly. So that's what heads northwards on Tuesday. Single digit daytime highs in Southland, Otago and coastal parts of Canterbury, and then that colder airflow moves further up into the North Island, Auckland and Wairoa, Northern Hawke's Bay, Gisborne, Whangarei, Hamilton, Tauranga. All those areas don't get it until later on Tuesday. It's going to be a windy start on Wednesday morning because the storm tracks further away from Otago. This is 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and these areas here, the gusts are in the shaded areas, mean winds are in the barb. So just stick with the gusts in the big shaded areas here, and what that is showing is gusts up to 100, 110 kilometres an hour. The bulk of the damaging winds, though, are all out at sea. It just brushes places like Otago Peninsula, Banks Peninsula, and then up around coastal parts of Wairarapa. So it's a borderline event, but it's within that margin of risk for most places. And up to the north, while you're away from the damaging winds, there is another surge of very windy weather coming through for Auckland. That starts actually on Tuesday, but continues through on Wednesday morning. And lunchtime Wednesday, the low now right out just south of the Chatham Islands, but because of the incoming high, and because this low sort of wants to hold on a wee bit to New Zealand, there's an extra strong squash zone in here. So that's what we were just seeing on that map. That's the reason why there's a surge of windy conditions going up those coastal areas and stopping around about Wairarapa region. So it will be windy on Wednesday, but there is a high coming in behind it. By the way, another stormy system for Adelaide and Melbourne as well. But as we move through the week, we get to Thursday. New Zealand's weather calms down. It'll be a bit colder. We've got a southerly around the country, then a high pressure zone coming in over the top of it. So check the frost forecaster. That's at ruralweather.co.nz, or you can just go to Weather Watch, and we've got our own below zero maps. But you can certainly see high pressure on Thursday. Stormy weather though in Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart, even Sydney getting caught up in that. And as we head in towards the end of the week on Friday, things settle down in New Zealand. That still means the risk of a frost overnight, and then the stormy weather continues over in Australia. In fact, now a wintry southerly coming into parts of Adelaide and Melbourne. And our final map for Saturday shows more stormy weather coming in around that southeastern corner of Australia. It eases in Adelaide but continues for Hobart, Melbourne and Sydney, and also Perth has a weak but a very weak low pressure zone moving in there. But New Zealand, as the high moves across, back come the northerlies. So northerly winds will be more noticeable on Saturday, even more so by Sunday. So this week, spring-like, it turns wintry for a time, and then it warms up again as we head into the weekend. That's all from me. For more details, drill down deeper at ruralweather.co.nz.